Good day, everyone. Today we're going to turn in a Z400 HP computer into hopefully a decent gaming PC. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of go over the parts that I'm going to use to turn it into a decent gaming computer, and then we'll get started on the build. So the first thing, it's a Z400. It has a 4-core, 8-thread Xenon CPU, 12 gigs of RAM, Fire Pro AMD card, and motherboard. Also had a power supply when I got it, but I used it for some other projects because we're going to be using this power supply. The stock power supply from Z400 is not a standard ATX size, so would not fit our new case. So that's the reason we're going to go with this. The only problem with these with this power supply, even though the motherboard has the same plug-in like the regular ATX plug-in, but the wiring is different. So I'm going to get the wiring diagram pulled up, and we're going to switch some of these wires around. I'll show you how I end up switching it, so if you end up doing the same thing, you can also follow this. It's not a tutorial, just kind of showing you how I'm going to do it, so don't put me responsible of your computer. But we'll get this going, we'll get this working. We'll probably replace the thermal paste in here. Then the next part that we got, we're going to use the GTX 960 video card. It's an EVGA model from it's NVIDIA GTX 960. That's the 2GB model. This is something I already had, so that's the reason we're using it. It's a fairly decent video card. I play a lot of the games, and not on the highest settings, but I mean, I think it will match this CPU fairly well. Also, we're going to throw in 120GB SSD in there for the operating system. The Z400 came with a 320GB hard drive and Windows 10 on it, so we're going to put Windows 10 under here. Use this hard drive for just the games. 800-watt power supply, except we'll switch the wiring around. And there's the case that we're gonna use. It's a tempered glass, kind of cool. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put this the truck with the John Deere tractor inside there, because it's for my missus's nephew. He is gonna be playing farming simulators and trucking simulators on his computer. He's got a steering wheel and all that stuff. So that's the reason putting that in there, to kind of make it a build theme. It's going to go inside there. So before further ado, we'll just get started by tearing this motherboard out, all the components out of the Z400, and start moving it into here. Alright, I ran into the first snag so far. First of all, the cooler was mounted to this back plate, so there was no screws or plate on the motherboard itself, and I'm not going to be able to use this in the new case. So what I ended up cutting off 4 of these, just a hacksaw. Yeah, there is 4, and I'm just going to screw them in on the back of the motherboard to hold the cooler in. So first thing I'm going to do is wipe this old thermal paste off. It's pretty dried up. I guess you guys wanted to know, there's the, I don't know if it'll focus or not, but there's a CPU. It's a Xenon W3520. So there's ways you can upgrade these. You can put that 6-core 12-thread in, and then it would bump your performance up, but I'm just gonna leave this in there for now. I think it'll be plenty for him. Now we'll wipe all this old thermal paste off. Right there, it's good enough right there. Doesn't need to be perfect, but yeah, as long as you get all the old thermal paste off like that. Alright. I got some new thermal paste. It's a GD900. It's a Chinese thermal paste, but it has real good reviews, and I had real good luck using it. I had this tube for about maybe a year and a half now. Works pretty good. Show you this. I had this problem with my Z420 there. I mean, that's not a problem, but this temperature sensor, that's what controls the fan speeds and stuff, and the motherboard has to have it, otherwise it throws error codes and it won't post sometimes. So I definitely have to save this. Looking at the wiring, it just goes into here, so I'm going to just cut this off right here, or here and here, and that's going to go plug in back to the motherboard. And these section, it's LEDs and a power on button, and I'll just use the connector from there. But yeah, I'm just gonna cut this little piece out and plug that in, so that way I can retain my temperature sensor. going to go over the wiring a little bit with you. I'm going to include a diagram down there below of the wiring there, but I'm just going to kind of give you a quick review. So on this little pin, this is just a connector to the motherboard, regular ATX. So on the little pin right here, there's a yellow, orange, red, and black wires. So I ended up splicing in orange and red into the yellow. So instead of sending the 3.5, 3.3 and the 5 volts out of the red one, they're all going to receive 12 volts now. And this is nice 16 gauge wire right here, so I'm not worried about it pulling too much, but you could always run a separate 12 volt to here. But I got real thick wire right here, so I'm not worried about pulling too much through this wire and heating it up. Now I have red and orange that's just taped up so it won't short anything out. So now this got 12 volts, and also there is one more. This pin right here, and like I said, I'll put a picture down below, whatever there to the forum that kind of discusses it on how to wire it up. And so I jumped it with another ground to this pin right here. It's supposed to be -5 volts. Now it's just got the ground going to it now. So that's it. That's all the wiring you have supposed to do. So we'll see how that works out. I'm gonna start putting this power supply in, hooking everything up, and keep going with the process. Well, this is it right here. I'll just installing Windows onto it right now there, just Windows 10, but yeah, that's how it's ended up being. I put these toys in there, just hot glue those in there, the tempered glass, so those won't go anywhere. Nice blue lights. It's super quiet. There's the front right here. So this is definitely gonna give this Z400 a new life there. Good view right here. Yep, so I'm just going to install Windows, install all the drivers, all the updates, and put in some of the trucking simulator games on there, maybe the farming simulator, trucking and farming simulator. So he can start playing. He has a Logitech steering wheel that he'll plug up into here, and he'll be able to play it on the big screen. And so yeah, this is it, guys. Like it if you like it, dislike it if you disliked it. But the computer is done, and this looks a lot better than just regular old Z400. Alright, talk to you later.